Hey, welcome everybody joining us on LinkedIn and any other platform. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited for today's conversation. I am Jared, your host. This is the Brokerhood, and we have a treat for you. I am honored more than any of y'all know to have one of the best brokers, not only in the part of the BAI network, but one of the best brokers in the entire industry, in the entire franchise consulting game with us today, as we're going to dive into a conversation to learn from her how she has become so successful, how she has built a business and therefore a life that started one day with a dream, with just a hope, just a plan, and how now it became what it is today. I cannot wait to welcome and to show you Daphne Pappas, who has been with BI for a long time. Excited to kind of share with you some golden nuggets that hopefully you all, whether you are a prospective franchise consultant or whether you've been in the game for a while and just want to learn. Our hope today is that you can walk away with a number of different highly valuable parts to help you make a decision moving forward, whether that's, I want to become a franchise consultant, start my own business, or that's, I know there's things that need to change about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it to build the success I want to, whatever that might be for you. Hopefully that is the goal for today, that you find it highly valuable with wherever you are in the process. So, man, without further ado, let's welcome in the one and only Daphne Pappas. Daphne, how are you?
Jared, nice to meet you. That's quite the introduction. Thank you.
Oh, it was easy. You made it easy, with everything that you've built up and have really become, like, it's just it's a pleasure. And actually, you and I got the pleasure of meeting you in person for the first time last year at the BAI conference, and that was such a treat. I'm gonna brag a little bit. I got to share the stage with Daphne last year at the BAI conference, and it was truly an honor for me as someone who is, especially comparatively, so much newer and underdeveloped, I'll say, in the game than you were. And so you are. And I just, it's an honor for me. It's an honor once again today to have this conversation with you today. So thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, we just dive in really? Tell us a little bit about your story. Usually what I love to hear too is, how long have you been in franchising consulting and what were you doing before consulting?
Yep. So I've been in franchise consulting for 9 years. Before that, I was actually in the fashion business for about 30 years, working for global companies. And I traveled the U.S. merchandising stores, opening stores. So I probably at that point have been to 80% of the cities throughout the U.S., never realizing that would actually help me in this job now, because when I get clients from those cities, I go back to when I was there. A lot of them have changed, of course, but I at least have a perspective. So getting into this, what happened? So I grew up in family franchises. We owned restaurants and hotel franchises. So I was familiar with it from growing up. My brother had been running them, and unfortunately, he passed away. But before he did, he said, "You need to get involved now." So overnight, I basically found myself, I had to quit everything I knew. Figure out, jump in, figure it out, what's going on. And as I was doing my research and due diligence for, franchises, what my obligations were, I ran into a broker similar who basically, after hearing my story, said, "You need to do this." I was like, okay. So I took a leap.
Wow, what a calling to get into this business. Incredible. So then tell us then why BAI? How did you get connected with the network, and what led you to consider?
That's who the broker had introduced me to. I didn't know that there were even other networks, because I honestly didn't even know that this was a thing. When they're telling you about this, there's a part of you going, "Really? Is this a real thing?" But honestly, what convinced me were the validation calls. I probably had easily, 12 or more validation calls. And throughout those calls, I realized this sounds like a real thing. So I just took a leap of faith.
Yeah. Wow. And I'm sure you're glad you did. And that's so interesting you say that, because I think that's so true. I even had a conversation literally right before this interview. I had a conversation with a potential candidate who was like, is this real? Like, what is this? It's like, yeah,
Exactly.
it really is a real thing.
Most people don't know about it.
Yeah. It's not as publicized as a lot of business opportunities or industries are. And so, but once you find it, it can be such a life-changing experience for the right kind of person as well. Looking back on it, when you first got started, did you have any major hesitations, or what were some of your big hesitations early on?
Once I took the leap of faith and said, I'm going to do this, I did. I had a really hard first year going into the second year. I had no prior background in anything similar, like any kind of sales funnel role. So I didn't even understand the language, the cadence of the business, any of that. So I had a really hard time my first year. And it took a while. Basically, BAI, I was trained. They did a fabulous job. But I never broke out of that my training. I basically stayed in that. And what happened for me is that what I didn't realize is I needed to tailor that training to me and make it authentic to me. So I had to take that and adjust. But it took me probably a good 6 or 8 months before I even, was not scared enough or said, I have to do something. I got to change some things up. And realize that I needed to change my process in a couple of things because it just wasn't working for me. And that took probably a little over a year till I started refining that. And I would say not until my third year till I really refined it.
Okay. So what I'm hearing from you is in your first year, would you say your first year was a flop in that regard, or
it was learning? It was a learning curve. So here's what happened.
Okay.
I closed a deal within 9 weeks after I joined.
Oh, wow.
So I said to myself, I'm a superstar at this. I don't need any training. This is it. I got this.
Yeah.
Well, needless to say, a whole year then went by nothing. And that's when I realized, in looking back, and that's very important in this job, that you're able to self-reflect on yourself, is that it was beginner's luck. It had nothing to do with any skill set that I had. I had nothing. So it was beginner's luck, and I needed to change things. And that's when it took a full year from then before I was able to start, signing deals. And I closed 2, and then it started slowly working.
Yeah, and then about year 3, you said, is really where you kind of found your groove. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And is that, would you say, is that common with the brokers that you know of, brokers you talk to? Like, are you seeing that as a common trait across the board?
Well, the way I look at it is that there's 3 things that have to happen at the same time for the rubber to hit the road. I think there are other people who it probably happened to quicker than myself, because maybe they have a sales funnel background. Maybe they understand some of that. I didn't understand what any of that meant, any of that language. So what I've realized, and why the third year was kind of pivotal for me, is that there's 3 things that have to hit at the same time. One is you have to perfect your pitch, right? What is that pitch? That authenticity of the client. Why are they going to trust you? You can't just read a BAI script. That people know you're reading it, that there's no authenticity in there. And that's what you have. So you have to perfect that. And that takes a lot of work, and you're going to have many good and bad experiences through that. Number 2, where do your clients come from? There's many different places potential clients can come from. So you kind of have to try out a lot of those and see where you're happy getting your clients from. And then the third thing is what brands you need to work with, what brands you like to work with. Where do you have a good relationship with them? Where do you understand their business model and feel very strongly about them? So there's a couple pieces to it. But what I have found is when all of those things happen at the same time, the rubber hits the road. You've perfected your pitch. You have the brands that you love to work with. You've got where the clients are coming from. You're happy with. When those 3 happen at the same time. It didn't happen. It took me 3 years to get to that point and figure that out.
Wait, what one was the struggle of the most for you of those?
All
3?
of them.
At different times or all at the same time? Yeah.
All of them. Yeah, all of them. And I didn't know that. So I'd work on one thing, then realize something else wasn't working. I'd have to go back to the other. But when I self-reflected, I'd say 3 years from then, and said, you know what? This is what has to happen. Those three things all have to happen at the same time.
Yeah, they all got to be in unison 100%. And there's so much wisdom there because you can see the symbiotic relationship between those three things. Like, hey, if you could have great leads coming in and you could be working with the perfect brands to help close those leads. Right. But if you don't have your own story, your own pitch down, you're not going to be able to make that connection, you know, and same thing with the other parts. You could have the best pitch, but if you have the wrong leads coming in, you know, and so I can see how
there's nobody to speak to about it. Right. And the brands are important, you know, that not all, there's a lot of great brands out there, but some of them, they may, you know.
So tell me about that, because, you know, I work with a lot of potential franchise brokers that want to know this question. How many brands do you work with? How many franchisors are you working with? Right. And so can you tell me the importance of finding the brands that work for you or that you want to work with, as opposed to you need 1,000 brands, you know, whatever it might be? Like, it sounds like what you're saying is to find success in this, you need to have certain brands that you have a closer relationship with, that you work more closely with. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Because the brands ultimately are going to sell their brand. What my goal is to get a client to speak to that brand. And you have to have a trust in that brand that they're going to take your client and give them a good discovery experience and get them hopefully to the finish line. There was a brand I was working with, and you know, I didn't know it, but I had clients say to me, I just didn't like the owner's calls. The owners didn't say nice things about the brand. And I went, oh my gosh, I can't lead clients to that brand. The clients told me this. So, you know, I'm saying to myself that then, you know, that one came off my list. But a lot of that, finding the brand you like to work with, it takes, again, that's trial and error too. Some of these things you don't know, you know, and you have to go through a process of working. Listen, they're all great people. They're going to tell you they want to be with your clients, but not all of them are going to take good care of them.
Yeah.
You know, that's, you know, and it has to work for your process, you know, but I don't want to hear bad validation. I'm not going to send somebody to bad validation.
Right. Yeah, no, that's so good that you say that, because, you know, at BAI, we take pride in vetting and qualifying the brands that are part of our portfolio. We don't just let anybody into our portfolio for many reasons. But that doesn't mean that every brand that's in a portfolio is going to work for you as a consultant. You know, so there's a little matchmaking even there before you get to the matchmaking of the candidate. Yeah. Okay. So then tell us, is this, you know, these three things, is this what has ultimately led to these recent wins for you? You know, you've been crowned Broker of the Year 2 years in a row. So tell us, you know, I know everyone who's watching this, I need you to know Daphne does not like that at all. She hates the recognition and the praise. So this was like pulling teeth for her to do this. And so that's why, again, why I appreciate it so much is like, I respect you so much for that, but there's so much to learn from you in it too. So if you could tell us what ultimately has led to this kind of success and these wins for you.
Well, as we were discussing earlier, my whole mission when I try to connect with clients is to develop that emotive connection, understanding their why, their passion, their dream. I don't look at numbers. I don't look at that. That's not as important to me as developing that connection. Because if I'm good at making that connection, understanding what they want, and sometimes they can't even articulate what they want, right? But you've got to be able to read through the lines. And it's good, and it's meeting the clients at wherever they're at in the process. Like right now, I have a gentleman, a young guy, he wants to finish school. So he's in process, but we've planned it out for 1 year. He hasn't graduated till next spring. And so we're going through a slower discovery process. That's okay with me, you know? Yeah. So it's a matter of understanding where they are. And I wake up every day just thinking about making those connections. What does my client need? You know, and thinking about the clients that are in the pipeline as well. Where are they at in their stages? What are the things that they're going to need? My goal is to try to think of what they need before they know it or even ask them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So and that's hard because, okay, where are they in the process? What are they going to need? You have to think through all this stuff,
Yeah.
whether it's funding, it could be franchise attorneys, whether it's validation, financials, all of that. And, I'm probably at any given point have anywhere from 20 plus clients in the pipeline. That's a lot you got to basically go through everyone every day, just where everybody's at. And those are the ones that are in process, not the new ones that you haven't connected.
That's so fascinating that what you're saying. And you said, if I heard you right, saying you don't really keep track of your numbers and that kind of thing in this business.
If you asked me, I'd have to stop and go take a look and look at them. I don't know. I don't wake up knowing,
but I think I think it speaks volumes to who you are as a person, and which makes sense as to how that has led to so much success. Because what I'm saying is your focus is on people first, not the profit first. And that's a huge differential in this business. And so I love that. And that's what I tell people all the time. It's like, hey, if you're going to join this network, if you're going to be really successful in the business, you need to care about the person. And, when you're looking at your CRM and you see their name and some of their info, they need to be more than just the digital information you have on your screen. They need to become a real person.
And exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's so good. What has the success, has it unlocked anything for you? Has it changed anything for you, personally, professionally?
I mean, I love what I do. I mean, this morning I woke up to a 7:00 a.m. message that, clients had signed, and it had a smile on my face all day because they woke up this morning as business owners, right? It's a dream that they didn't know that they could get, how they could get here, and you help them become a business owner. It's going to change their life, and to understand that we have that impact on people. It's powerful. It's it blows me away every day.
Yeah, that just goes back to what we were just saying. Notice friends, how Daphne didn't say like I woke up because I'm getting paid. It was I woke up because I got to be a part of this person's life that is going to be changed forever, if not at least for the next 10 years. Like that's a big part of their story, and you got to be part of that. What's something that has surprised you about this business that maybe you didn't expect coming into it?
Well, I think one of the things that really surprised me was just the franchise industry alone. How even though it's huge, it's actually, once you're in, it's a very small community and very tight community and very supportive. That shocked me. Just everybody wants to help you. We were on this week. There was the one franchise that they did the bourbon tasting, but also talking about their
Green Home Solutions.
It's like, oh my God, these people. It's fun, but like everybody's like that. Like they're genuine people who really care about other people, and that was shocking. A lot of times, I came from a corporate world, so there's a lot of. It's a totally different world, and. I tell clients when they're looking to get into franchising that you're going to become one of us, a corporate refugee getting into the small business into the franchise world.
Yeah, there's so many. There's a lot more intimacy, a lot more relationship involved in this business as opposed to what you might see in the corporate and in most corporate settings. Like that was such a great example. Green Home Solutions did that webinar. Shout out to them again. This week, where one of their franchisees owns a distillery, so they sent these bottles of whiskey and shared those with
very cool.
the consultant. Very cool, just so thoughtful and such an engaging way to go. Hey, let's, as best we can, let's connect in this digital virtual space, and let's build a relationship. If it leads to business, awesome. That's kind of the hope. But like,
he took time out of his day, right? He doesn't gain anything from it, right? He just generally wanted to just.
Well, I would assume Green Home's probably paid for those bottles, but who knows? I don't know. But he did love. Anyway, that's a different conversation for sure. But tell us give one piece of advice or a tip that you might give to a new broker, either that's still kind of on the fence or someone that just getting started. What's a piece of advice you would give to them?
I think just based on my story is that just it could take you longer than you think to get up and running. Again, you have to refine those three things together before the rubber hits the road, and that's a different timeline for everyone. So I think just being patient, making sure you connect, and the other big thing is if you feel it's not working, change it up regardless. Somebody told you this is the way. If it's not working for you, it's not working. So you need to change it up. Try different things, whether it's in your pitch, whether it's in the brand you're choosing, whether it's where clients are coming, any of that, just change it up if you don't feel it's working. Don't be
Can you
afraid.
give us some advice on like how you have learned to change it up over time, over the years? What are some ways that you've changed up lead generation, or have changed up the brands you're working with, or have changed up your pitch? Can you give some insight there?
Sure. So with the lead generation, they all go through hot and cold like everybody. So I always recommend shifting that up. Don't stay with anything too long, because you'll know when things are hot and cold. Suddenly, you're not. It's cold, and you've got to make a change. Yeah. So I think you keep your toes dipped into several options and keep shifting it up so that you can kind of stay ahead of that. Brands are similar. Industries are hot and cold. Yes, there's certain hot industries now, but that changes when you just look at the environment and certain things are, based on whatever the overall environment is, some businesses are going to be hotter and colder. You don't have to necessarily be in the hot lanes either, because everybody else is also there. So there's nothing wrong with being in another area that you're passionate about. And that would be better, I feel, than being in a hot lane that you don't feel great about.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
And in terms of my pitch, I mean, every day I work on how can I connect with these clients better? How can I anticipate what they need? I think that's a constant work in process. There's no perfect.
Yeah. And you've been doing this a long time. So for every day for you to continue to try to sculpt that, I think it's a big lesson to be learned there. Like, don't expect it's going to be perfect, and if it is perfect, it's not going to be perfect forever. So you have to constantly be on top of managing that.
Don't sit on exactly. It's a very humbling business. You have to be, humble, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about being a part of the BII network for you. You've been doing it a long time, been a part of the network for a while. Are there ways in which being a part of the network has helped impact your business?
Yeah, I think, as we talked about initially, all the training, I think that all the brands that they support, and that they have vetted is very important. The resources that they have between, whether it be franchise attorneys, lead providers, different sources, funding, that's been important. I think all of that. So I've relied on that a lot. And I've learned from other brokers, things from other brokers. We have the monthly meetings. There's always some piece of wisdom that come out that somebody's doing something that you go, oh, that's a good idea. Let me try that. And the biggest thing I think is a support, that they've awarded me 2 years in a row. This was not even a thing. They had never even done that before. And, while I'm very appreciative of it, I'm not even sure, how I even got here, but here I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, you are absolutely deserving with how you've built your business, the number of clients and candidates that you've helped place into franchise ownership and have impacted their lives. I wouldn't say countless, because there's definitely a number somewhere, but you told me you don't know it. And so, but you've done that more than nearly anybody in the game, not even just in BAI, and so I think to know that about you, you're absolutely deserving of that award. And so I think I don't want to shy away from that. And now it's cyclical too, because you're pouring into others, and you're pouring into other brokers as well, and then teaching them, whether it's through those weekly or monthly calls, or through something like this that'll be used ongoing. Like, your wisdom and advice and guidance is also changing other people's stories too, and impacting their business. So I can't thank you enough for that. My last question really for you: do you have a favorite part of this business? What's your favorite part? What keeps you going?
Um, hmm. I mean, there's many parts of it I like. I think I really like connecting with the clients, really just hearing their stories and really just saying to myself, can I really help them?
Mm,
Especially clients that have fear. They're really a tough one to get through,
yeah.
So I
And you
think,
enjoy that.
and I do. I mean, you can't change everybody, but fear is
Yeah.
based on the unknown. So the more I can educate and connect with them and kind of hold their hand and let them know we'll get through it together, I think that's probably, that's the part that keeps me going.
Yeah. 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 That's so good. Daphne, thank you so much for doing this today, sharing of
Thank
your
you.
time. You're so much to be learned in this. I can't wait to continue to share it and to have the follow-up conversations with people who are interested in this and maybe following in your footsteps. And so if that's you, if you're watching this right now on whatever platform, whether you're watching this live or later on down the road, please, I just dropped in the comments there or in the details. Click on the link in the chat, and you'll be able to explore franchise consulting a little bit further, in a little more detail, and be able to kind of get some more details for you as you kind of continue your due diligence, researching if this might be the right fit for you. And or reach out today. Let's get a conversation going right now if this is the right fit for you and if you are the right fit for this business and this network. And if it might be, I mean, this could radically transform and change your life as it has Daphne and so many others as well. And so, but while they're doing that, Daphne, again, thank you so much. Excited to continue to work alongside you and learn from you. It's greatly appreciated.
It's been my pleasure. And thank you for everything and everyone who listened. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right, everyone. Take care. We'll see you later.
Because at the end of the day, Business Alliance, it's not about us. This has nothing to do with Brandon Clifford, the CEO, or Gina Johnson, our president. What we really are is we're just a platform. We're here to allow brokers, brands, and suppliers to connect with one another, to elevate their business, to really encourage people to bet on themselves and become a business owner through the business model of franchising.